Welcome to Love Lies Chronicles.
Support the channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing. I promise even more interesting stories. Dinner wasn't supposed to go like that. I'd made the effort, bought the kind of wine she liked, cooked something decent, even dimmed the lights like I used to back when we still tried. I didn't expect a miracle. I just wanted the evening to be less cold. She showed up 10 minutes late, heels clicking across the tile, still in her work blazer. No kiss, no greeting. Just dropped her bag on the chair and slid into her seat like we were business associates having a stiff check-in. I poured her a glass. She didn't look up. For the first 10 minutes, we talked logistics, her travel next week, a bill we'd forgotten to pay, something about the neighbor's kid denting our mailbox. The kind of safe, neutral topics that fill space when two people aren't sure what else to say. Then I asked her something I shouldn't have. Do you even like me anymore? I didn't mean to blurt it out like that. It had been on my mind all week, but I hadn't planned to throw it on the table between the asparagus and the lamb. She froze with her fork halfway to her mouth. Looked at me like I'd asked whether she'd ever considered taking up taxidermy. Then she smiled. And then she laughed. It started small. A twitch of her lips, a short exhale. Then it grew into a full, breathy laugh. Head tilted slightly back. I squinted. Like I'd just delivered the punchline to a joke she'd been waiting years to hear. You're serious? She said, wiping the corner of her eye with her thumb. Jesus. You really sat there and asked that like we're in some therapy session. I didn't answer. She leaned back, took a sip of wine, swirled the glass like we were in some upscale tasting room instead of our own dining room, where the wall clock ticked just a little too loud. You know what your problem is? She asked. You think everything's supposed to mean something. Every sigh, every look, every missed text. You live like you're in a drama that nobody else is watching. That wasn't new. I'd heard it before. What stung wasn't the words. It was how easily they came out of her mouth. Like she wasn't trying to hurt me. Like she wasn't even thinking about it. I'd spent the last few months trying to fix something I couldn't name. Trying to be more attentive, less reactive. I'd stayed quiet when she came home late. I'd made excuses for her in front of friends. I gave her space, thinking maybe I was the one suffocating whatever was left between us. But here she was, laughing at the idea that I wanted to be liked. She picked at her food, still grinning, like my question had been a brief moment of entertainment she'd already moved past. I didn't move, didn't frown, didn't reach for my fork again. I just sat there. Her phone buzzed beside her plate. She glanced at it, typed a reply, and locked the screen again without a word. I mean, if you need constant reassurance or something, she said, waving her hand in a vague circle. Maybe you should see someone. The rest of the meal passed in scattered comments about her day. She talked about a coworker who got written up, a client pitch she thought went well. I nodded in the right places, but I was somewhere else entirely. I kept thinking about the way she laughed, effortless, genuine. The kind of laugh I hadn't heard in a long time. And the worst part? It was real. That laugh had nothing to do with me anymore. She left her plate half finished and stood up. I've got emails, she said, already heading for the stairs. No thank you. No good night. I listened to her walk away, heels clicking across the hardwood, fading into the distance. When I heard the bedroom door shut upstairs, I looked at the empty seat across from me and tried to remember the last time I saw her smile because of me and nod at me. I stayed there a long time after she disappeared. Long enough for the wine to go warm and the candles to burn down to wax puddles. I didn't cry, didn't clench my fists. I just watched the empty plate, the barely touched food, and let everything go quiet. That's when it settled in. She wasn't just indifferent. She enjoyed it. And I was done giving her anything to enjoy. I didn't sleep much that night. I lay on my side, eyes fixed on the faint glow of the hallway light seeping through the bottom of the bedroom door. Her breathing was steady, undisturbed. She'd fallen asleep not long after getting into bed, phone still in hand. I watched her roll over and plug it into the charger without a word, like we hadn't just dismantled what little was left of our marriage over lamb and red wine. That laugh echoed in my mind. I wasn't angry. Not in the shouting, fist-clenching, wall-punching kind of way. I was something else. Still, detached. It was like I had finally stopped trying to push the boulder up the hill and just let it roll back down. I wasn't even watching it anymore. I just let it go. Around 3 a.m, I got up and walked to the kitchen. I stood in front of the open fridge for longer than necessary, the cold air brushing against my legs. I wasn't hungry. I didn't need water. I just needed to stand somewhere that wasn't next to her. Something small, trivial, caught my eye. A receipt folded neatly and stuffed between the magnets on the side of the fridge. She usually left receipts lying around, crumpled in bags or coat pockets. But this one was flat, crisp, deliberately tucked out of sight. Curiosity, or maybe instinct, made me pull it free. It was dated 2 nights ago. A restaurant I didn't recognize. Dinner for 2. No drinks, just food. Expensive food. The kind she usually made fun of for being all garnish, no flavor. I checked the timestamp. 7:48 p.m. She told me she had a migraine that night. Said she was turning in early, asked me to keep the lights down. I tiptoed around the house like an idiot, even left my headphones in while watching a movie so I wouldn't disturb her. I set the receipt down carefully and walked back to the bedroom. She was still asleep, curled into her pillow, her mouth slightly open. I didn't feel rage. I didn't feel betrayal, not yet. Just confirmation. The signs had been there for months. Her short temper. Her forced smiles. The coldness that crept into our room and never left. I used to believe it was stress. Work, hormones, the usual excuses people give when they're afraid to admit the truth. But now the truth was standing in front of me, printed in 12-point font on a dinner receipt. I sat in the armchair across from the bed and waited for morning. Not out of some dramatic instinct, just because sleep felt irrelevant. Around 7:15, her alarm buzzed. She stirred, swatted at her phone, and groaned. Then she noticed me. "You okay?" she mumbled, rubbing her eyes. "I'm fine," I said. She blinked, then glanced at the empty side of the bed. "Did you sleep?" "No." She shrugged, already moving toward the bathroom. "Well, I've got a packed morning. I'm gonna be late if I don't shower now." There was nothing unusual in her voice. No guilt. No shift in tone. Like she had already adapted to a version of reality where none of this mattered. I watched her close the bathroom door and heard the water start to run. I stood up, walked to her nightstand, and unplugged her phone. It buzzed once in my hand, 2 unread messages. Both from the same name I didn't recognize. I didn't open them. Didn't need to. I took the phone, walked downstairs, and left it on the kitchen counter next to the receipt. Not for confrontation. Just so she'd know that I knew, and that I no longer cared enough to fight about it. By the time she came down, dressed and rushing through breakfast, I was finishing my coffee in silence. She looked at her phone, saw the messages, then spotted the receipt. Her eyes lingered on it for maybe half a second. "Did you go through my stuff?" she asked flatly. I didn't answer. Just sipped the last of my coffee. You know, that's not exactly healthy behavior. I stood up, rinsed my mug in the sink, and grabbed my jacket. "Are you seriously not going to say anything?" I turned to her. "You've already said enough." I just finally listened. And with that, I left. No slam doors. No dramatic exit. Just the quiet end of something that had already been dying. She didn't call. She didn't follow me outside. But she would. By the time I got to the office, it was like someone had opened a window in my head. Everything was clearer. Quieter. The mess hadn't gone away, but I'd stopped pretending it wasn't there. That alone was a relief. I didn't act differently. Not on the outside. I nodded good morning to colleagues. Answered emails. Went through meetings like any other Wednesday. But something had shifted. The pressure to hold everything together was gone. I didn't care if she noticed yet. I didn't care if anyone did. All I cared about was moving in the opposite direction of where she'd left me. Around noon, I logged into our shared financial dashboard. She never thought I paid attention to the details. That was always her lane, budgeting, transfers, the annoying stuff. I was just the guy bringing in the money. But I learned to track the back end months ago when things started feeling off. Now, looking at the numbers, it was all there. Hotel charges. Uber rides she never mentioned. A separate debit card I hadn't known she opened. She wasn't just lying to me, she was financing the lie with my trust. I opened another browser tab and started changing passwords. Nothing dramatic. Just quiet locks clicking into place. Our joint account? Rerouted to a personal one. Streaming services? Logged out on all devices. Home security app? Disabled her access. Spending alerts? Turned on. Every time she used her card, I'd know. She wanted space? I was giving it to her. I didn't go home that night. I left work around 6, drove to a small business hotel on the edge of town. Nothing fancy, just clean sheets and silence. I ordered room service, turned off my phone, and let the TV run on low volume while I stared at the ceiling. At 8:47, I powered my phone back on. 3 texts from her. "Where are you? Did you take money out of the account? Are you trying to be petty now? I didn't reply. 10 minutes later, a call came in. I watched it ring out. Then another text. This isn't funny. Call me back. Still nothing. I ate dinner, took a hot shower, and fell asleep faster than I had in months. The next morning, her tone had changed. I opened my phone to a string of messages, all sent between midnight and 6 a.m. Okay, what's going on? Seriously, this is immature. Did you block me from the credit card? I needed that money for a deposit today. Don't be a child, just talk to me. I need help. Call me, please. And there it was. The first real word she'd used in months. Please. She'd gone from condescension to desperation in less than 24 hours. And all I had to do was nothing. Just stop holding the rope she thought I'd never let go of. I didn't delete the messages. I didn't reply either. By lunchtime, she called again, this time from her office line. I let it ring twice before answering. What's going on? She asked immediately. No hello. No softness. You tell me. I said, keeping my voice even. I have a catering invoice due today. They already charged half to the card. You canceled it? No, I said. I removed my name. You're free to use your half however you want. A long silence followed. You're punishing me, she said finally. No. I'm stepping back. That's different. You're being a damn child. Probably, I said. But I'm a child with good credit and a working car. How's your afternoon? She hung up. That night, I stayed at the same hotel. Around 10 p.m., I got a voicemail. Her voice was shaky. Not crying, but close. I don't know what you're doing. If you're trying to hurt me, fine. You've made your point. Can we please talk? Just talk. I didn't mean to laugh at you. I was just angry. I said things I didn't mean. Please call me. I replayed it twice. Not because I was tempted to respond, but because I wanted to understand the shift. The panic wasn't about missing me. It was about losing control of a system she thought she could keep running while humiliating the man funding it. The laugh at dinner was free. This was the invoice. And she'd be paying it in full. By Friday, she wasn't angry anymore. She was polite. She texted me in the morning. Let's meet. Just to talk. No fighting. I'll listen. That was new. The version of her I'd lived with the last 2 years didn't listen. She talked, corrected, rolled her eyes, then dismissed. Listening was something she reserved for clients, friends, maybe her trainer. Not for me. I ignored the message. Not because I wanted to hurt her, but because I didn't care what she had to say anymore. When the balance shifts, it doesn't happen with a crash. It happens quietly. You just wake up one morning and realize you're no longer waiting for them to understand. You understand. She tried again that afternoon. I get it. I was wrong. We can work on it. Please. At some point, I stopped checking the timestamps. Just read each message like it came from someone I didn't know. Someone borrowing her name and number. That evening, I went home. Not to talk. Just to pack. I let myself in quietly. She wasn't there. The house was clean, unnaturally so. Candles lit. Table set for 2. She had made dinner. Some version of penance, maybe. Or a bribe. Her phone buzzed on the counter. I didn't mean to look, but the preview banner rolled across the screen. Still good for Sunday? Hotel booked. I stared at it. The name wasn't saved. Just a number. I didn't touch it. Didn't scroll. Didn't need to. Instead, I walked upstairs and pulled out the luggage from the hall closet. I packed slowly. Methodically. I wasn't rushing anymore. That panicked energy belonged to her now. When I was done, I placed the spare key on the dresser and left a small envelope on the kitchen table. Inside was a printout, one of the transfers she made from our joint account to her private debit card. Highlighted in yellow. No note. No threat. Just proof. Not of the affair. Of the lie. I closed the door behind me like I'd close any other. I didn't slam it. Didn't even let it click loudly. Just the sound of wood against wood, soft and final. That weekend, I didn't stay at a hotel. I stayed with a friend, Eli, someone I hadn't seen in months. He offered me the spare room and didn't ask many questions. Just beer, leftover pizza, and a comfortable silence only old friends can offer. Sunday morning, I turned my phone back on. 12 missed calls. A voicemail from her mother. She's been calling everyone. Says you left. That you're not answering. I'm not getting involved, but maybe just talk to her. Then one from her friend, Rachel. She's not okay. I know she screwed up, but she's unraveling. Call her before she does something stupid. And finally, hers. The last one came through around 2:30 a.m. I'm sorry. I was scared. I thought if I made you feel small, I wouldn't feel so pathetic. You didn't deserve it. None of it. I need you. Please. Just answer. There was a pause at the end. The kind of silence that sounds like someone holding their breath, hoping it'll carry them to a different outcome. Then the message ended. I didn't call back. She'd finally found her breaking point. The moment when self-assurance curdled into desperation. But what she didn't understand, and probably never would, is that my silence wasn't a punishment. It was the absence of effort. No more explanations. No more defending my worth to someone who laughed at it. Her cry for help had come too late, and I was already out of reach. A week passed. No texts. No calls. At least not to me. She left a voicemail with Eli once, asking if I was okay, saying she was worried, but it wasn't worry. It was panic and makeup. It was the kind of fear people feel when they realize the game they've been playing had rules after all. I didn't return to the house. Didn't ask for anything back. I left behind a couch, a television, a drawer full of clothes. I could replace all of that. What I couldn't get back, and what I no longer wanted, was the version of myself I used to be in that house. The man trying, apologizing, explaining. The man waiting for scraps of affection like they meant something. One morning, a mutual friend messaged me. Saw her at the pharmacy. She looked like hell. Said you were on a break. That true? I didn't reply. Let them wonder. That weekend, I sat alone at a small coffee shop near the river. Same one I used to go to years ago before everything got complicated. I brought a notebook, not for journaling or dramatics, just to write a list, something practical. Rent. Utilities. Forwarding my mail. Real life. The woman at the next table was talking to her toddler, laughing gently as he tried to stir a chocolate milk with his finger. The whole place smelled like cinnamon and old wood. Nobody there knew who I was or what I just walked away from. That felt good. Not in a triumphant, victorious way. Just clean. I never blocked her. I didn't have to. She stopped reaching out 3 weeks after I left. I guess she realized I wasn't bluffing. Somewhere between the last ignored voicemail and the silent days that followed, she must have figured out that I hadn't walked out to win. I walked out because there was nothing left to stay for. I'd spent years dragging the dead weight of our marriage behind me, telling myself it was just a rough patch, that people change, that I had to try harder. But I was done trying. Done holding up something she was actively tearing down behind my back. She laughed at my pain. Not because it was funny, but because in her eyes, I was the punchline. What she didn't realize was that you can only laugh at a person who still wants to be seen. I didn't. Not anymore. I never told people the full story. Didn't need to. The ones who mattered saw the change in me. The calm. The space I carried. They stopped asking questions when they realized I wasn't angry. I was finished. The truth is, most betrayals don't come with fireworks or camera-worthy confessions. They come in quiet moments. In clipped responses. In a turn back. In a laugh that cuts a little too deep. And when it happens, the real power isn't in yelling, confronting, or destroying the other person. It's in stepping away with your dignity intact, letting their destruction arrive on its own. Because it always does. I never answered her last message. Never will. She made her bed, and I slept better without her in it.
Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments, and do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.